Hey guys, tonight we're going to float through the murky waters of time to a place where ancient stone structures still slumber beneath the waves. Imagine this. You're standing on the edge of the Mediterranean, gazing out at the horizon, with the salt air in your lungs. The wind brushes your hair back and you hear the faint sound of water lapping against the shore in eerie, calming rhythm. Below the surface, somewhere beneath that tranquil surface, a city lies forgotten by history, preserved in a watery tomb. Heracleon, a name most of us know only in passing, if at all. But what if I told you it was once a powerful and bustling hub in the ancient world, far more significant than many of us might think? Now, you probably won't survive a dive into the depths of the Mediterranean, but I'm sure you'll find the story of this sunken city absolutely fascinating. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is where you are. I always love seeing where you guys are watching from. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Heracleon was not always a ghost city. Long before it slipped beneath the waves, it was a thriving port on the edge of Egypt. Located just off the coast of Alexandria, this city played a pivotal role in the Mediterranean trade network, connecting Egypt with the farthest reaches of the ancient world. But, as with many great cities of antiquity, the sands of time, water in this case eventually reclaimed it. Founded somewhere around the 8th century BC, Heracleon was a place of trade, wealth, and spiritual significance. It wasn't just another port town, it was a center of influence. The city's location made it the perfect gateway for commerce between Egypt and Greece, as well as other Mediterranean cultures. Merchants from all over the known world would have found their way to Heracleon, trading goods from spices to precious metals, all in the shadow of the great temple of Ammonius. This temple, however, wasn't just another religious site. It was a grand architectural marvel, its stone walls holding secrets of Egypt's ancient rituals. Historians still argue whether the temple served merely as a religious center or also as a political hub. It was here that some of Egypt's most powerful leaders gathered to ensure the blessings of the gods for their voyages, military campaigns, and daily affairs. As the centuries passed, Heracleon grew more than just a city. It became the lifeblood of Egyptian commerce and spirituality. The city's importance wasn't only its position as a trading hub, it was also a religious center of monumental significance. You can almost feel the energy of the place, can't you? Picture towering temples, grand processions, and markets bustling with traders from far-flung lands, all under the watchful gaze of Ammonius, the god of the sun and air. The Temple of Ammonius, though no longer standing above the waves, is still one of the city's most powerful legacies. Historians are still fascinated by its role, questioning whether the temple was a beacon for international diplomacy or simply an elite religious institution, dedicated to ensuring Egypt's prosperity. One thing we do know is that the city had a palpable sense of sacredness, steeped in rituals that permeated everyday life. It's said that the Egyptians would bring their finest offerings to Heracleon, and visitors from Greece and elsewhere would seek to have their names carved into the sacred walls, securing a form of immortality. Heracleon was a center of both wealth and power, yet there was more to it than just merchants and priests. If you were walking through the bustling streets of the city, you might hear the sounds of foreign languages drifting through the air. Greek, Phoenician, and Egyptian all melding together as traders bartered and politicians debated. As the gateway to Egypt's riches, it was not unusual for Heracleon to host a variety of cultural exchanges, from the exchange of goods to ideas, art, and even religions. Imagine stepping into a city where all walks of life seemed to converge, a melting pot of the ancient world. But not all was well beneath the surface. While Heracleon's presence on the trade map was secure, its future wasn't as certain. The winds of change were already on the horizon. In the 4th century BCE, a shift occurred. Egypt's political landscape began to evolve, and as it did, so did Heracleon's fortunes. Once, this city had been a key player in Egypt's naval dominance, but with the rise of Alexandria as a stronger, more strategic port, Heracleon's significance began to wane. But what caused its ultimate demise? Was it simply overshadowed by the power of Alexandria, or was something more sinister at play? Historians still argue over whether an earthquake, rising sea levels, or a combination of both caused Heracleon to vanish beneath the waves. What's most compelling is that, for centuries, the city remained a mystery, lost, forgotten, swallowed by the Mediterranean as if it had never existed. Fast forward to the 21st century, and Heracleon's story was reignited when a team of underwater archaeologists made an astonishing discovery. What was once lost to time had now resurfaced, albeit submerged. It was the year 2000 when French marine archaeologist Frank Gaudio and his team began exploring the waters off Egypt's northern coast, near Alexandria. As they descended into the depths, they uncovered a hidden world, where statues, pillars, and inscriptions lay preserved in the darkness, untouched by centuries of seawater. Imagine the scene, divers carefully brushing away the sand, revealing pieces of history that hadn't seen the light of day for over 1,000 years. The city of Heracleon, with its towering temples and grand monuments, was no longer a myth, it was a reality just waiting to be understood. The rediscovery of Heracleon was nothing short of a revelation for the world of archaeology. It was as if someone had opened a time capsule of the ancient world, with treasures still intact and perfectly preserved. One of the most striking discoveries made during this expedition was a massive stone statue of the god Hapi, the deity of the Nile. Hapi's statue, nearly 2 meters high, stood proudly on a submerged quay, its intricate carvings still clearly visible despite the centuries underwater. The image of this colossal figure, arms outstretched as if greeting the visitor, perfectly encapsulated the significance of the Nile to the people of Heracleon. It was a striking reminder that the city's wealth, power, and spiritual life had been built upon the river that sustained them. But these findings weren't just pieces of stone and art, they were keys to unlocking the everyday lives of those who lived in Heracleon. Among the ruins, archaeologists found inscriptions, pots, and coins that painted a vivid picture of life in this once thriving city. The coins themselves, bearing the image of pharaohs and gods, were a testament to Heracleon's role in Egypt's political and economic spheres. What's remarkable is how much the city still had to tell us, despite having been buried for so long. As exciting as these discoveries were, they also raised more questions. With each new find, the puzzle pieces began to fit together, but many parts of Heracleon's story remain elusive. Historians and archaeologists still argue about the finer details of the city's final years. What exactly caused the city to sink? Some believe it was a slow, gradual process of submergence due to earthquakes and rising sea levels, while others argue that a single catastrophic event, such as a massive earthquake, could have been the final blow. We may never have a definitive answer, but the mystery surrounding Heracleon's fall only adds to its allure. Yet, the discovery of Heracleon's remains has opened up a new chapter in our understanding of ancient Egypt. It offers a glimpse into a forgotten world where trade, religion, and daily life intersected in ways we're only beginning to understand. Imagine walking down those same streets, hearing the chatter of merchants and the call of priests, feeling the pulse of a city that existed long before the modern world took shape. The excitement of rediscovering Heracleon wasn't just about the treasure trove of artifacts, it also sparked an intense interest in the broader historical and archaeological implications of the city's existence. The submerged ruins of Heracleon opened a window into the world of ancient Egypt that we had never quite seen before. For historians, the discovery was akin to finding a missing puzzle piece that completes our understanding of Mediterranean trade routes and Egypt's interaction with the outside world. But what really caught the imagination of many was how well-preserved these artifacts were, despite having been submerged for over 1,000 years. The underwater environment in which Heracleon rested helped to preserve many of the city's monumental structures. The lack of oxygen at the depths kept wood and other organic materials relatively intact, and the silty seabed offered a protective cushion against the destructive forces of time. As a result, we are now able to study things like pottery, inscriptions, and even entire statues that would have long since deteriorated had they remained exposed to the air. But perhaps the most remarkable discovery was the city's vast network of streets and buildings. Some of these structures were still standing in their entirety, offering an almost surreal view of an ancient city frozen in time. There were entire city blocks, roads lined with statues, and remnants of everyday life that were eerily familiar. This wasn't just a city that had been lost to the sands of time, it was a city that had been frozen in its final moments, preserved in a watery grave. For archaeologists, it was as if Heracleon had been waiting patiently beneath the waves to tell its story. Among the most significant discoveries was the presence of an immense statue of the god Osiris. This imposing figure, nearly 2 meters high, stood in one of Heracleon's central religious areas. Its form was surprisingly well preserved, and as the statue was carefully lifted from the water, it revealed intricate carvings that told stories of the god's role in the Egyptian afterlife. Osiris wasn't just any god, was the ruler of the underworld, the one who oversaw life and death, making his presence in Heracleon a symbolic reminder of the city's connection to both spiritual and political power. But with each new discovery, there's always a lingering question. What secrets remain hidden in the deeper parts of the city? While we've unearthed many of Heracleon's treasures, the full extent of the city's wealth and significance is still unknown. It's easy to imagine that beneath the sunken streets, more relics wait to be found, possibly even entire chambers or vaults untouched by time. Historians and archaeologists continue to debate whether there's more to discover or if we've uncovered the most important remnants. They speculate whether there could still be records of Heracleon's political dealings, perhaps writings about its interactions with the Greek and Roman worlds, or even the very reason it was abandoned. What's clear is that Heracleon was more than just a port city, it was a symbol of the complex relationships between ancient Egypt and its Mediterranean neighbors. As Egypt's trade center, it served as a cultural and economic bridge. It was a place where Eastern and Western civilizations met and where ideas, art, and goods were exchanged. But like many great cities of antiquity, it was subject to forces beyond its control. What seemed like an unshakable economic and spiritual center crumbled slowly, eventually falling beneath the sea. Some historians even suggest that Heracleon's fall was a warning to other ancient cities about the fragility of their power and the unpredictable nature of the world. Now, with all these discoveries, Heracleon's legacy is no longer just a footnote in ancient history, it's become a key player in modern Egyptology. The city's rediscovery has completely reshaped how we think about ancient Egyptian society, trade, and religion. It's as though we've stumbled upon an ancient time machine, a relic of a forgotten past that allows us to travel back to a time when the Mediterranean was a web of interconnected civilizations. Heracleon's reemergence is more than just an archaeological win, it's a reminder of how much of our history still lies hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered. Archaeologists continue to study the artifacts and structures found in Heracleon, and every new find offers fresh insight into the world of ancient Egypt. The city's role as a center of trade between Egypt and the Mediterranean means that it played a crucial part in the development of early global commerce. And in a way, Heracleon's rediscovery is a metaphor for how we often overlook the smaller, quieter stories in history only to find that they were once monumental, shaping the course of events in ways we didn't expect. The underwater city also serves as a poignant reminder of the ever-changing nature of our world. It wasn't so long ago that this city was home to bustling markets, grand religious rituals, and political power plays. But now, beneath the waves, it's a place where silence reigns, broken only by the sound of the occasional diver's bubble. There's something both haunting and calming about Heracleon's submerged stadia. It's as if the city itself has found peace in its watery grave, its secrets slowly being revealed to us, one artifact at a time. Historians still argue about why Heracleon sank. Was it a slow decline due to rising sea levels and earthquakes, or did a single catastrophic event bring it to its knees? It's a debate that will likely never be fully resolved, but it's part of what keeps the story of Heracleon so captivating. The city's fall isn't just about its physical destruction, it's about the questions it leaves behind. What does it tell us about the fragility of even the most powerful cities? How did the people of Heracleon adapt to the unpredictable forces of nature, and what can we learn from their resilience? As we sit here, imagining the quiet, dark waters where Heracleon once thrived, it's easy to see why this lost city has captured our imaginations. The allure of a sunken world is something that never quite fades, and the story of Heracleon, a city that rose to prominence and then sank into obscurity, is a reminder of how small we are in the face of time and nature. We may never know the full story, but we have enough to keep us coming back to Heracleon, to keep peeling back the layers of history and uncovering more about this ancient, forgotten world. And with that, we've journeyed through the rise and fall of Heracleon, the city that once connected Egypt with the wider world. Heracleon, now a ghost beneath the waves, continues to tell its story through the ruins it left behind. Its temples, statues, and streets still echo with the whispers of its people, waiting to share their secrets with those willing to listen. Perhaps it's only fitting that, like all good stories, it fades into silence, leaving us to ponder its mysteries long after the waves have settled. Now, as you slowly drift off into sleep, remember that this story, just like Heracleon, will continue to live on in the depths of history, silent but ever present.